If you're a subscriber to my channel, and why wouldn't you be, you may have seen this video where I debunked BuzzFeed's People Try to Live Without Black Inventions. It's currently the 4th most popular video on my channel, so I thought it would be fun to do a companion piece of sorts. So let's take a look at another video called 15 Inventions Created by Black Americans.
Before Black History Month is over, I wanted to take a moment to give thanks to the POC, pioneers of color, that came before us.
Oh, good grief.
During my research, I was blown away by just how many African American inventions we use on the day-to-day. And it got me thinking just how different life might be if it weren't for Black ingenuity. And though this video could literally be hours long, I narrowed it down to some of my favorites.
So there's your setup. This video is purportedly going to show us 15 inventions created by Black Americans. So let's see if this guy did the proper research. Spoiler alert, he didn't.
The automatic gear shift, Richard Spikes. For those of us who hate driving clutch, we have this guy to thank.
Okay, first of all, Richard Spike's name is spelled wrong, so we're off to a great start. But more importantly, Richard Spikes didn't invent the automatic gear shift. Because if you read the actual patent, Richard Spikes writes, "My invention relates to improvements in automatic gear shifts." In other words, he made mechanical improvements on something that already existed. In fact, he wasn't even the first to improve on it. That would be Henry R. Hoffman, who applied for a patent for automatic gear shift and speed control 8 years earlier and wrote, "My invention relates to improvements in automatic gear shifts and more particularly to the gear shift mechanism of a motor vehicle." So while he may have improved on it in some way, Richard Spikes did not invent the automatic gear shift, which means we're 0 for 1.
America's first clock, Benjamin Banneker. Rumor has it that Ben built his clock after studying a friend's pocket watch.
So reportedly at age 21 or 22, Banneker, after studying a pocket watch, constructed a striking clock made almost entirely out of wood. And on the day of his funeral, his cabin caught on fire, which destroyed the clock.
His family even reported that it ticked until the day he died. Ooh.
The clock was destroyed in a fire. It's not like the clock died of a broken heart or something. Now the claim is that Banneker built a clock almost entirely out of wood or something, and to me, that sounds a little like folklore. But for the sake of argument, let's say that he did. Regardless, there is no proof or documentation that he built America's first clock. Okay, next clip.
Automatic elevator doors, Alexander Miles. Without this, we'd have a lot more awkward encounters at work. You know what I'm talking about.
And I'm sure you're not the source of that awkwardness in any way. And speaking of awkward, Alexander Miles didn't invent the automatic elevator doors. That would be J.W. Meeker, who filed this patent in 1874, while Alexander Miles' patent was filed in 1887. So while Alexander Miles may have improved how elevator doors work, he didn't invent them.
The carbon filament and the electric lamp, Lewis Latimer. Do you know how many times I heard about Edison as a kid?
Yeah, because Thomas Edison was responsible for the first commercial successful light bulbs, you genius. And as I have previously pointed out, Lewis Latimer didn't invent the carbon filament, let alone the electric lamp. What Lewis Latimer and his partner Joseph V. Nichols did do was patent new and useful improvements in incandescent electric lamps. And while Latimer didn't invent the carbon filament, he did file a patent pertaining to improvements in the manufacture of those filaments. And unfortunately, when people overstate Lewis Latimer's role in the evolution of the light bulb, it leads to falsities like the following.
A black man invented the light bulb, not a white guy named Edison. Okay?
81 million votes, guys.
Folding chair, John Purdy. Without this, professional wrestling would be an entirely different sport.
First of all, this is the folding chair that John Purdy patented in 1889. But he didn't invent the folding chair, as this design goes as far back as the Nordic Bronze Age. Now, you might be thinking that this looks nothing like this, And you'd be right. But what I did find was the patent for this folding chair filed by John Cram 34 years earlier. Not sure what the color of John Cram's skin was though. Sorry.
The ice cream scooper, Alfred L. Crow.
Yuck.
Need I say more?
I mean, it would be nice if you did, but you won't, so it's up to me. This is Alfred L. Crowley, who invented this ice cream scoop and disher that allowed the user to scoop ice cream and squeeze the handle that would separate the ice cream from the scoop. And you know what that means? We finally have an invention created by a Black American inventor. Took long enough.
The modern lock,
really
Washington Martin. Locks. Locks, dude. For 4,000 years, locks hadn't changed. This dude rolls along, makes some changes, then we're locking everything up.
No! In 1861, Louis Yale Jr. invented a pin tumbler lock that used a small flat key with serrated edges. Look familiar? Well, it should, because this is what's considered to be the modern lock. But where does Washington Martin figure into all this? Well, he doesn't. In the 1889 patent that Washington Martin filed, his lock featured a mechanism that, when tripped, would force a deadbolt out of the lock. This was Washington Martin's improvement over beveled latches that work like this. Washington Martin's design was to prevent people from being able to use something thin like a knife to jam open a beveled latch. However, this design is not in use today. So while Washington Martin invented a lock, he didn't invent the modern lock.
Alright, I guess it threw 15 of those. Jesus.
Are you the new girl? Well, I thought so. I've never seen you before. Konnichiwa, I'm David Kun. It's so nice to finally meet you. You look just like my waifu. Anyways, I'm so sorry about the jerks in class. They're all baka and they only want one thing. Not me. I just like to watch my favorite anime, Jujutsu Kaisen, and read manga. Also, I think you're really kawaii desune. I'm sorry. I'm just nervous, okay? It's just... well... it's just... I just want to know if I can suckle your niplets, okay? Well, what do you say?
She looked pretty strong.
Independent judiciary.